Hi everyone. Before I begin the video, I just want to give credit to the person I heard this interesting theory from. I heard it from a guy named Owen Benjamin. And Owen Benjamin's a famous comedian, a very good comedian. I recommend his stuff. And he's here on YouTube, I believe, but I don't know if he posts videos here on YouTube. He definitely posts content on BitChute, and he has some interesting takes on a wide variety of things like movies, common media. He breaks down certain topics like a movie like Inception. He has interesting takes, and he's a really funny guy. I recommend his comedy, but there's just something weird about the guy. You know that gut feeling that you can't trust him. He does a lot of the symbolism, if you know what I'm trying to say. But yeah, and he had a feud with Eric Dubai a couple years ago where he got caught lying and he denied it. So that's why I don't listen to his stuff anymore. But anyway, I'm going on a tangent. The theory that Owen Benjamin talked about is Earth being very similar to a battery. A battery has three components, right? Well, most batteries do. There's a lot of types of batteries, but the most common type include three key components. So the first component is a cathode, second component an anode, and the third component is an electrolyte. So the cathode is the negatively charged electrode, and an anode is the positively charged electrode. So in the cathode, electrons enter an electronic device, and in an anode, electrons leave. So what's an electrode? An electrode is a conductor through which electricity enters or leaves a system. And an electrolyte, the third component, is the medium or the substance that conducts electric current as a result of being broken down into positive and negatively charged particles called ions. And an interesting thing to keep in mind is that a very common electrolyte is salt. So what Owen Benjamin was saying is that the anode is the sun, the cathode would be the moon, and the electrolyte would be the oceans. And that makes sense because the oceans are filled with what? Salt water, right? With salt. And the anode is where like I said, the positively charged electrode by which electrons leave. So what does the sun give out? Energy, right? The sun's rays. The moon could be the substance that takes back those electrons, and the electrolyte is, like I said, the medium through which it constantly cycles back and forth between the sun and the moon. And that could be a reason why the ocean waves move the way they do. At certain times of the year, the sun is closer, or the sun's path is different, depending on which model you believe in. But I mean, it's undeniable the sun is closer to the earth during summer, or it has a different path during summer. I'm not very familiar with all that, and I definitely don't believe in the heliocentric model of the universe, the model that they try to push down our throats. I believe that's what it's called, the heliocentric model. But the sun's path is going to be different at different times of the year. The moon's path is going to be different, and that could be a reason why the tides change. Why there's different tides at different times of the year or different times of day. Anyways, I just wanted to share that. It's an interesting theory to think about, and it definitely makes a lot of sense. This constant flow of electrons between the sun and the moon, and the ocean just being the medium for all of it. I mean, we definitely live in a world with free electricity, and unfortunately, we have to pay for something that's free. Just take a look at some of the experiments that Tesla was doing. He's able to, light up a light bulb with just touching it. No wires, no no wires whatsoever, just using his own body. And then that's because our own bodies have an electrical charge, right? Our hearts have an electrical current. A lot of things in this universe have, work on electricity. Just think about all the things in our daily lives that wouldn't function without it. We're very dependent on it, and obviously that's why that's why it costs money. It's too big of a profit for it to be free to people, which leads me to the second thing I wanted to talk about, which is free energy. To think that the people in the past were primitive and somehow this is the peak of civilization. The more you research, the more you look into the past, it's definitely not that way. There has existed humanities who have the same level of technology or even greater level of technology than what we have today. A lot of buildings from the 1800s, cathedrals, if you take a look at some of those pictures, these buildings are usually coated with gold on the very tops of their buildings. Sometimes it's the domes, sometimes it's around, I'm not sure what the term in architecture is, but it's around the roof of the building is coated with gold or copper. And gold and copper, I believe, are some of the best conductors that we currently know of. I think gold is the best conductor that we currently know of, if I'm not mistaken. And you got to ask yourself, why would the top of these buildings just be coated with gold or copper? And you see these antenna-like structures just sticking out at the very tops of these buildings. I've heard it from many YouTubers, and if you do your own research, that these buildings weren't actually made just for the purpose of admiration and for people to gather in them. They were made to gather free energy from the ether. And the ether is just the sky, right? Like the upper sky. So these buildings were actually made to gather energy, without the use of wires or anything like that. And the peoples of the past had free energy. And like I said, the more you look into these pictures and the more you research, you start finding out that these buildings are covered in copper and, all types of conductors like gold. And that theory or that, that opinion makes sense. And I thought of something, if you take a look at the Eiffel Tower and the structure of it, it resembles a modern transmission tower that we see today. Take a look at the structure of a modern transmission tower and take a look at the Eiffel Tower, and they share very similar architecture. So could the Eiffel Tower have been used in the past, to gather free energy again? Don't get me wrong, it's a beautiful architecture piece. But why would something like that just be built for pure admiration? You know what I mean? There has to be more purpose to it. Just like the pyramids, why would something like that just be built for admiration or just for tombs like they tell us? I mean, if you look at the Egyptian pyramids, their uses go far beyond just being tombs for pharaohs. That's the cookie cutter mainstream explanation that people swallow, and they don't bother to look beyond it. And so that's what most people think the pyramids are. But the pyramids were, again, used for other purposes as well, like electricity. There's aquifers running down below, or, there's pockets of water running below the Egyptian pyramids. And the very top of the Egyptian pyramid had a capstone of gold, I believe. Again, gold, a conductor. Very interesting stuff. I just wanted to share this topic with you. I just think it's fascinating. And thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for all the support. I'll continue to post interesting videos like this, interesting topics. If you have any suggestions or things that you'd like me to talk about or you'd like to know about, just leave it in the comments. Thank you so much for watching.